Hi there. Welcome back to Small Talk, Long Talk. I'm your host, Anthony Chen, and today we'll be talking about red flags, easy smiles, factors for enjoying life, and guilty pleasures. So, let's dive into it. The main goal of the podcast is to really add depth and breadth to all of your conversations with each podcast. And hopefully, you can open your mind to these kinds of questions in your own life, reflect on them, and make them your own by hearing which ones work best for you in your own personal life. Today, I'm joined by one of my very recent friends. His name is Dave Chen. Dave, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Dave. I'm 25 and here with my most recent friend Anthony. I'm an ex-auditor and I'm excited to see what he's got cooking in the kitchen.
Awesome. So Dave, what is your biggest red flag in a relationship when you're dating or on a date?
The biggest red flag? That's a good one actually. I think the biggest thing is someone that doesn't have a sense of humor.
Okay.
That's a huge red flag for me. Because I'm a guy that likes to mess around and be very sarcastic. And if you can't keep up with that, like off the bat, I can tell. If I shoot something that's weird and you're not like replying in a way that I'm expecting you to be like humorous, then I'm like, okay, like this isn't going to go anywhere. Our conversation's going to run pretty dry, I feel like.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. I was actually talking to a friend of mine that was on Tinder recently. And he said he went to a date and he was just trying to crack all these jokes and none of them were hitting.
Oh my God.
You have a choice at that point, right? You can either keep on telling jokes or you can just switch the topic. And he was like, no, I'm going to double down.
He's keeping it
He's
going.
like, I'm going to keep on telling jokes.
Oh, no way.
That would be your red flag then.
But like, was he purposely trying to crack jokes to make her laugh? Or is that just who he is as a person?
Oh no, that's who he is as a person. I think he's a funny guy too. It was pretty funny because it's exactly what you were saying.
Yeah, that to me, like right there, like I'll give it a couple of shots. I wouldn't keep it going.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
Really?
Mainly through messages though, not through in person.
Okay.
Because I can tell if you're not like receptive through text, and I can tell that through your replies, you're very like blunt and you're not reciprocating in a way that I'm expecting you to. I'm like, okay, like we're not even going to meet up. This is going to be where it ends.
True. Okay, that makes sense. I think for myself, I would say that my red flag is they're not comfortable around like my friends. If they meet my friends and they're not getting along, it's an automatic red flag to me because my friends, I think, are a representation of me. And I gravitate towards people that I think are pretty similar. So if they're not on board with that, maybe you're not on board with me then.
That's interesting because I know a couple of people like as they get older, there's like that type of relationship where either the boyfriend and the girlfriend would be like, yeah, you're hanging out with that person again. Like, can't believe you're doing that. Like, whatever, do your thing.
Right.
So like you want to avoid that at all costs.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because then it shows like some signs of insecurities or something along those lines where they might not be comfortable with you hanging out with another girl, or maybe they're not comfortable with some of the ways that your friends act, but it's the same way you act. So there's disconnect there.
Assuming that this is like a hypothetical, you hang around, let's say, with some girls as a good friend, and she gets jealous saying that your girlfriends over there are a little too attractive and I don't feel comfortable with you being friends with them any longer.
Right.
How do you like take that?
See, that's a red flag. That's exactly what I'm
that's
talking
the red
about.
flag. But like they can get along though. She's fine with getting along with them. She just doesn't want you to keep that relationship or hang out with them as frequently as you normally do now that you're with her.
So that was actually like one of my past relationships, an exact model of what my past relationship was. And it was very stressful because it was almost like where do we stand? If you're okay with them and you're okay with me on a normal basis, why are you not okay with both of us together then, right? And just hanging out. And I think that's like a sign of like insecurity. So it's a trust thing. You have to trust me that I'm not going to make a move or I'm not going to act on that essentially.
Okay. That's fair. There's a lot of trust built into it.
Exactly. Why? How about you? What would you do in that situation?
Like which way are we talking about? If I have attractive friends that I'm hanging around with or if she had attractive friends that she's hanging around with?
Let's flip it around. Let's say she was hanging out with attractive guys.
See, I'm usually not like an overly jealous person, but I would need to know if there's any history between them.
That's fair.
If they're just purely friends the entire way through, then cool. You do your thing. Like, I don't really care. But if you guys have had like a thing in the past and you're still hanging out as if you're best friends, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know. That's a little bit of a touchy end. So I might actually have to step in at that point.
That's a pink flag, if anything.
A what?
A pink flag.
A pink flag? Is that a thing?
No, not at all. It was really funny though, because I was asking this question around and it was really weird. I stumbled across one that I've never heard of before. The red flag was if they're a bird owner.
What?
I was like, what?
What does
What does
that
that have to do with anything? Usually it's like maybe they're rude to the waitress or waiter. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a good answer. That makes sense because it shows their personality, right? No, if they own a bird, like a pet bird,
Wow.
and it's just like, why?
That's so random.
They justified it, right? So they were saying, if you own a bird, you are almost like a psychopath.
What?
And I don't mean to offend anyone that owns a bird, but it's almost like if you own a bird, you have to deal with like their constant chirping. They're more useless than a goldfish. And like all they do is make noise. So you literally are like a crazy person if you own a bird.
That is the first time I've heard of that. I guess there's always something for someone that knocks them back.
For me, now I never want to own a pet bird. I don't want to be a crazy bird person. If anything, what would you say is a simple thing in life that never fails to bring a smile to your face?
Interesting. Simple thing in life.
Previous answers that I've heard have been, like the very first snow of winter.
Really?
Since we're in Canada, where it's really cold and we get these winters. This was an immigrant friend, and so she said when she always sees the first snowfall, it always reminds her of when she had first come here and she was amazed by the snow. And it brings her like a lot of like warm feelings inside. That's kind of her memory. That was a pretty interesting one.
Interesting.
So for me, I'd say a simple thing that never fails to bring a smile to my face is when I see a friend. And it doesn't matter if I've seen them a day ago or I've seen them years ago. Just seeing their face and seeing a familiar face in like the crowd of a city always just makes me smile. I'm just so happy to see that person again and just to have them in my presence and bringing up all those things that we've done together in the past. That all rushes in when I see a friend or when I see a familiar face, and I just automatically smile and just wave.
Do your typical wave.
I do my typical wave at them. I'm just like, hey, like long time no see. Like, how is it? And just automatically smiling.
You just kick it old school.
Exactly.
Especially in a big city like this. Like,
Yeah.
where you're not likely going to run into someone you know because it's so many people, right?
Exactly. For sure, my friends are people that I hold like very dear to me. And so whenever I do see one, it's always just such a warm feeling for me. That's my first snowfall. That's my
First
equivalent.
snowfall.
Yeah.
I guess going along those lines for me is seeing people smile and laugh kind of puts like a smile towards my face.
Yeah.
I could be in like the worst situation ever and I'm just like completely depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But if I walk outside completely like unexpected and then someone does like a good gesture and they smile, to me, like all of a sudden that just brightens up my mood, even though I could be going through the toughest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if I see a friend and I can tell that they're having a good time just by me being there or like we're talking, I'm like, okay, I'm somehow contributing to a positive outcome. So it makes me feel better by knowing that I can do something about that.
Is it almost like a human connection? Like,
Yeah. It can be, even if you're faking it and you're just like laughing and you're not really truly sincere about it, but like I wouldn't know that. So you can fake it and I'll take it as if it's for real.
That's true. And have you ever heard those like studies where you might not be happy, but if you smile for long enough,
Yeah.
that you eventually...
you'll eventually become happy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But then that's kind of weird if you do that on a subway. You're just like smiling constantly, staring at someone.
Well, don't stare at someone. Just take out the staring part and you're fine.
You just smile the entire time.
Yeah, just smile. Just like close your eyes and smile. Like you'd be thinking about
I feel
something.
like you do that a lot.
Me?
Yeah.
Closing my eyes
No,
and smiling.
not closing your eyes.
I'm just Asian.
I'm not talking about your eyes. I'm talking about the smile, the lips.
The lips.
You're
No
always-
one has mentioned the lips
Really?
before.
I feel like
No.
you're always in a happy mood, or maybe just because you see a familiar face. Going back to that, that's why you smile. Oh.
Yeah, maybe.
See,
yeah.
this all makes sense now.
Yeah, actually, I never put that together. Maybe it is that when I do see a familiar face, that I do smile. And that's why people always think that I am in a happy mood.
Yeah, 'cause
Because
I've
I'm
never-
happy to see them, though.
I've never seen you in like a pissed off mood.
That's a good one, though. So if I could sum up yours in like a single line, would it be weird to say that something that never fails to bring a smile to your face is another smile?
Yeah, that's like a very, very happy way of putting it. But that's actually very accurate. Yeah,
Nice. It's a nice like one-liner.
it's a one-liner.
Yeah, there you go. So what are the biggest factors for enjoying life, in your opinion?
The biggest thing, and I think can be applicable to a lot of people, is just be yourself. Don't be a person who others want you to be. Essentially, don't put on a persona and don't act a certain way just so that you could please others or so that you can fulfill expectations of either people you don't even know or your friends and family. Because I think that can only last so long in terms of you being happy. For myself, I've been trying to work on that, not putting on this fake persona of who I should be to others and acting as if this is how I act at home. And obviously there's a difference between acting differently at work and at home, but just in a social setting, don't fake it.